Welcome to NACD BoardVision. My name is Henry Stoever, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for NACD. Today, I'm joined by Mary Ann Cloyd, the leader for PwC's Center for Board Governance. Mary Ann, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Henry, always great to be here with you. Thank you.
On this episode of NACD BoardVision, Mary Ann and I are going to be talking about some of the key findings from NACD Directorship 2020, specifically around the environment and how the environment can be a disruptive force impacting boards now and into the future. Mary Ann, today we heard a lot about how the environment, whether it be storms, whether it be water shortages or resource challenges, how the environment in general from a macro perspective can really help create opportunities or challenges for boards and companies into the future. And I'm wondering if you can share with us a few of your key takeaways on what boards should be doing, thinking about, or suggesting to their management teams.
Yeah, and Henry, I think as you said, all of this ties into the broader 2020 vision that NACD is doing this year, and really looking at a number of what we would call at PwC, what I call megatrends. And certainly the changes in the environment is one of those. And I always go back to when we're talking about megatrends and the board's role in that, let's not forget that the board is here to provide oversight. Much of what I've gotten out of the most recent discussion here with part of the NACD 2020 program is other things to think about in the context of environment and what's changing and what does it mean to company, supply chain. So it's really thinking about what any of these environmental disruptors can do to one's supply chain. And certainly, you can think of the, Sandy that we lived through on the East Coast. But I wonder if all companies and all directors, when they're having those discussions in their boardroom, stop to think that in supply chain, maybe it's not just, how many layers deep that can go, because one of your suppliers being disrupted, and the impact that can have on you. Water. How many times have you seen in the paper, even in the last, news, last couple of weeks, where you've got major companies in the U.S. really recognizing that the demands for water, with the increasing population, the supply for water is going to require and something else you touched on is innovation. One of the things that the pessimist would say that, things not going so well has caused what I would look at as the optimistic view is companies to be innovative.
So from your perspective, Mary Ann, how can a company leverage this disruptive force into an opportunity that can benefit investors?
Isn't it all about doing the right thing?
Right.
Really when you talk about the environment, sustainability, looking at it in its broad sense, isn't what we really all want is that companies that have the leadership there that's focused on doing the right thing for the long term. So it's certainly doing what's right for the environment, but also the sustainability of what's doing right for the people. You mentioned the families within the company, because and I see all of it as a win-win.
And it almost comes back to whether you call it ESG reporting or your enterprise risk management reporting. We heard today about an example where if the Mississippi River, the water level gets low enough, then the barges can't get south, to deliver the product and deliver the resources. Well, is the board thinking about if the Mississippi River gets low enough, how are we going to operate our company? Or if a typhoon hits our plant in Taiwan, or if a hurricane hits New York City, they're all kind of related.
And recognizing that sometimes the effect may not be, the indirect effect may ultimately be, much more impactful than one would have thought at first glance. The knock-on effects.
One of the interesting points for me was isn't that we didn't come to a definitive answer, but we are having the dialogue. And I think that's what's so important about having diverse board composition, is that people have the knowledge and experience and backgrounds to ask challenging questions that people may not have the answers to, and that's okay. But let's work together to figure out how we can address some of these challenges and opportunities.
Exactly, Henry. While I think that most would acknowledge that maybe the questions that get asked vary by industry. So, but I would say that there's, there's the commonality. There's the commonality of what the tone of the question should be, and what, pun intended or no pun intended, what the vision is.
Right. Mary Ann, thanks for joining us today. I'm Henry Stoever, and this is NACD BoardVision.